Court Reporter with Stovall and Associates.
Hello and welcome back to Court Reporter. I'm your host, Michael Salbeck, and I'm here with Robin Duran Rudolf, Deputy Public Administrator and running for Public Administrator for Nye County. Before our commercial break, we were talking about you used to work out of a tight single wide, but now you guys have moved?
Yes, we have a building that is behind the planning department, across from Home Depot, right on Highway 160. And it's so neat. We have 3 separate office spaces. We have storage facilities. We have a handicap ramp, parking, and it's a wonderful, wonderful place.
Nice. Now, at the break, we were talking about something that just absolutely blew my mind. The public administrator and all these deputies that do all this work, it's a non-paid position?
The Nye County Public Administrator's Office is a non-funded position. And that means that we're not on a salary and we don't get a payday every couple of weeks or whenever most normal people do. We only receive an income once we've gone full circle being the administrator of an estate. And the dollars that we bring in, those are all set by statute.
Okay.
And basically it works like this. We're allowed a commission or a fee, if you will, of 4% of the first $15,000 worth of assets. And if you do the math, that comes to about $600. And then we are allowed 3% of the next $85,000 of assets, and that's a little over $2,200. And then there's 2% of everything over $100,000.
Wow.
Okay. Also, by statute, we're allowed to charge certain fees in addition to the 4.32%. For example, when we get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go to Beatty, we have what's called a first call fee. That's $150. And we get our 55 cents a mile for traveling. But in the interim, I pay my cell phone bill. I buy my fuel. I feed myself. If I have to overnight in Round Mountain or Gabbs or wherever it is, I pay my hotel bill. And it's important that I keep good records because expenditures that I make ultimately in the end will be reimbursed to me through the courts. But oftentimes you open a case and it's 4 to 6 months before you go full circle.
Full circle.
And a paycheck falls out.
So you got to have a little money in the account just to keep yourself running.
Well, indeed you do. And especially for new deputies, if someone was willing to take on this responsibility, which is pretty huge, you must be able to support yourself in the interim. My first couple of years, if I had to make a house payment or a car payment or pay anything at all, it would have been impossible to survive on the dollars that were generated.
Interesting. That's a lot. That's a lot to have to take on. Is there we talked about earlier, you have 3 deputies, I believe you said, and 1 public administrator, and then a first call guy. Mm-hmm. Is there, if Mr. Falcon, is that right?
Mr.
Finlinson. If he found the need that, hey, he wanted 6 deputies, does he have the ability to do that? Or
he has the ability to appoint as many as he thinks he needs.
Oh, neat. So at least if you guys get overwhelmed, he does have that ability. So the question that I think most people out there are curious about, because the people love auctions, is once these belongings are all found and they're documented and everything, a lot of times you auction them off for the families. Is that correct?
That is correct. There are 2 public auction houses here in Pahrump, and we utilize both of them. We can also utilize auction facilities in Clark County, depending on what type of assets we have to liquidate. And occasionally when I work a case that's in Round Mountains or Gabs or so far away that the logistics makes it impossible to pack all of those items up and bring them back to Pahrump to be liquidated, I actually set up and call the auction myself.
Really? So you're actually an auctioneer as well?
Yeah, I had an auction company right here in Pahrump for about 7 or 8 years.
Oh, did you really?
I did.
I did not know that. How interesting. Now, we only have a couple minutes left here. We're almost out of time. For the viewers out there that are wanting to go to these auctions, the ones not at the auction house, but let's say you hold one at the residence, how do they find out about those auctions?
Everything is advertised in the newspapers, in our local newspapers. And even when we have on-site sales here in the Pahrump area especially, we still utilize the 2 local auction houses to conduct those sales. They just call them an on-site sale.
Got you. Okay, so they just go out and do the auction at the property, but still use the same auction house.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, you were saying the ones out in Beatty or whatever, you'll have to call, or Round Mountain. It doesn't make sense to bring them all the way back to Pahrump. Are those also in the Pahrump paper, if it was in like Round Mountain?
I don't know if Round Mountain has a newspaper, but if they do, it would be in the Round Mountain newspaper.
Okay.
And if it's Amargosa or Beatty, where an on-site sale would be, then again, it's still the Pahrump Valley Times.